we are hoping he will be able to join us soon. My name is Dr. Ann Wagner. I am the head of school at Southbridge International School, Cambodia. We are out in Bori Penhot. I am the new head of school, having just started in July. So happy to be here. I'm joined by Ms. Petkase Savan from Sala, as well as Mr. Sun Somara from the New Generation Pedagogical Research Center. And we are hoping that Mr. Javier Sola from Open Institute will be joining us as well shortly. Ms. Savan, perhaps I will ask you to introduce yourself a little bit further.
Just one moment, please. Sorry for the interruption. I'd just like to reset this broadcast right now so that we're able to live stream onto the Ministry of Education page. So I'm so sorry, just for our viewers, please refresh the page once I click reset. And for our panelists, I'm so sorry. No problem. Okay, so just starting over from for all of our viewers on the live Facebook Live on the Ministry of Education. We're starting now our panel discussion on pedagogy and e-learning with Dr. Ann Wagner and joined by Mr. Petkase and Mr. Somara. For our viewers on Hopin, thank you so much for your patience. We really do appreciate your time. Okay. Please, Dr. Wagner.
All right. Thank you very much. I think we're starting again. So again, this is a panel discussion on pedagogy in e-learning. And my name is Dr. Ann Wagner. I am the head of school at Southbridge International School, Cambodia in Bori Penhot. I am the new head of school, having just started in July, and I am joined today by Ms. Petkase Savan from Sala, Mr. Sun Somara from New Generation Pedagogical Research Center, and we are hoping that Mr. Javier Sola from Open Institute will be joining us shortly. We're having a few technical issues there. But let me start by allowing our two panelists to introduce themselves a little bit further. Ms. Savan?
Sure. Good morning, everyone, educators, students, presenter, and panelists, fellow panelists. My name is Bisai, and I'm currently with Sala Saran Lohman, working on bridging students from during their transition period from high school to university. I myself have been a researcher, not an actual practitioner, but I have been a researcher in the field of education and technology for 3 years. And previously, I've done my study in blended learning. It's a case study in an Institute of Foreign Languages, Department of English, and specifically in the field of teaching English as a foreign language. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Somara.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay, so good morning. A little bit to say good morning. Okay, and it's nice to see you all here. And my name is Sun Somara. I'm a training coordinator for New Generation Pedagogical Research Center, the center that provides an intensive program for master degree education in mentoring. Okay, that I just work and coordinate everything in here. And beside that part, I'm also an English teacher and lecturer that get involved with the education more than 10 years in here. This is the thing. And at the same time, we can say like during COVID-19, which I have a chance to involve with the e-learning teaching and online class that even it's just hard, but we can survive through this one. Thank you.
Great. Thank you both. I want to start by saying I'm really excited to get the opportunity to moderate this panel today, because I've had some experience with e-learning, both as a school leader and also as a student myself. I earned my master's and doctoral 100% through online learning. And one of the things I really thought was fantastic about it was that it allowed me to connect with people around the world. And so I had classmates. I was living part of the time in Los Angeles, part of the time in China, and it allowed me to have classmates in Morocco and Canada and Japan and Korea, and the ideas that we shared from around the world were certainly not something that we could have done in any other type of learning environment. I was also among the first in the world to transition to online learning, because at the time of the outbreak, I was working in China, and we had to very quickly go from what we thought was going to be coming back from Chinese New Year, which turned into people all over the world trying to now somehow put learning together. And we were then also the first to return to on-campus learning, and dealing with the blended learning, and some teachers who are out of country and students who are out of country, and trying to put all those things together. In coming to Cambodia, I feel like I'm really becoming an expert on moving back and forth between online learning and on-campus learning. It has, it has been a challenge at times, but I think one of the things that what's really happened is that we've learned and we've grown every time, and we feel like we're getting a lot better at it. I think there are different skill sets that people need when they are transitioning from an on-campus environment to an online or an e-learning environment, and it's more than just technology. I think that's the first thing we think of, but there's also a lot that has to do with engagement and with interaction. So our panelists today are going to focus on student and instructor interactions, teacher training, and mentor training programs. And I think each of them are going to have some things they can share about the challenges and opportunities within these different learning environments. So, Sylvain, I think I will start with you. My question to you to begin is, your organization works specifically to minimize the barriers within higher education for students in a blended learning environment. Would you please share some of these practices and challenges? And I think we have a particular case study you're going to tell us
about. Well, it's a case study in Institute of Foreign Languages, like I mentioned earlier. It was a case study for Department of English, teaching English as a foreign language. And study, I've talked to students, teachers who've been involved and who've been actively engaged in blended environment. And they talk about their experience. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Okay. To teachers and students to discuss their experiences and challenges during the time in the blended environment. And before I move on to how Sala and Roman has been involving in bridging student and blurring the barriers between online and and offline, I like to discuss on the practices and challenges that we've identified so far in the blended environment. Actually, the study was conducted even before COVID-19, and it surprises me as a researcher that students are satisfied with the blended environment, although it poses a lot of struggles such as technological advancements, digital literacies, and some unpleasant learning interactions and discussion provoked by teachers. And the main problem or challenge I want to raise at this point is that well, there's interactions between teachers and students in the blended environment, and students thinks that the interactions on in a blended environment can somehow be not very friendly and not instant for students to share and to inquire questions or to address any concerns to teachers. Since it is blended learning, maybe I should have defined it in the first place. Blended learning refers to the hybrid learning environment that accommodate both online and offline learning environment. And students did not like the online part. Actually, they prefer going to teachers directly because they expect instant answer or instant response to any issue. In short, they prefer face-to-face interactions. On the other hand, we have technological advancements that seems to be a barrier between teachers and students as well. On student case, I talked to a student that discussed problem with blended environment during her time at the university. In fact, she's from a province in Cambodia, and she has a laptop but doesn't have an access to the internet connection. And I cannot imagine right now how um, um, she could make use of online learning. But currently, previously she depended on the internet connection she has. She was provided by school, and since the schools are some schools are still closed, uh, um, I think that might be a problem to her. Same goes to teacher. Teacher largely depends on the internet connection provided by the school or their management team at school or universities. And if and things happen, there might be some problems associated with that. Um, on on another hand, I would like to raise digital literacy among students and teachers as well. While the teachers that I discussed with mention digital literacy as a reskilling part of the job, to reskill to equip themselves with digital literacy skills, because well, we all are aware that teacher used to bring chalks or markers to classroom and using the whiteboard, and that is traditional education or learning, and it is known as teacher centered. But in spite all of these challenges, students are satisfied for this change because they believe that blended environment can help direct them to safe-face learning and self-directed learning. And although the concept of blended learning or e-learning is embedded with lifelong learning, um, um, but right now it is a crucial time to start taking action on such thing. Well, in order to tackle this this problem with interactions, Solar has a project called Solar Enrollment, and we as a team has been working on helping connecting students and teachers to maximize their experience in interactions between one another. In fact, we are working to help students to transit from high school to university without any daunting experience they might have or they might have been facing until now. And a student forum is a part of this solution. We have this kind of student forum for students to join and to share their concerns or even to share their experience as a teacher, as a student or as a stakeholder in the part of the education. And yes, and the student forum is on right now, and it's called Student Concern. You may go to Facebook page. Go to Facebook and look for Student Concern or Công on Facebook, and it's a Facebook group open for all students and teachers and education stakeholders to come together and share the experience in order to help maximizing the experience of interactions for all students.
Thank you very much. I think we can all understand some of those issues. We've certainly seen those issues similarly in the K-12 environment as well. So I'd like to turn now to Mr. Soon. I have a question and then I have a follow-up question for you. So my first question to you is just, your center is doing some exciting work on teacher training, specifically in the area of mentoring. And I thought I'd start by asking you if you could share an overview of your program, and then I have another specific question about it.
Thank you, Wanda, for giving me a chance. Okay, well, regarding to the New Generation Pedagogical Research Center, which is empowered by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, cooperate with CAPE. Okay, that to implement just a 1-year program, just an intensive program that we just provide 29 modules, that 8 modules just equal 1 credit. And besides that, we just combine with media thesis at a 6 credit and as well as the on 3-month practicum on mentoring in here, just the other 10 credits in here. And besides that, we also just divided with the 4 different streams. That the first main stream, we just focus on professional ethics and mentoring, and the second one, we just focus on English for educational research, and stream number 3, we just focus on ICT and education, and one largest about general methodology, system and principle, and we can say at the same time, seem like we are well prepared during the stream or extreme, which are teaching outline before the COVID-19, and we also use the online platform like a Google Classroom for the student to submit their homework or assignment to an instructor in here. So when the COVID-19 comes, we start to shift from outline to online quickly, but we just spent only one morning to introduce the new platform to the student, like Zoom meeting at the time, but just one morning and then we just shift into online. So that is the part that we just start changing, but we just get obstacle with one thing, that our physical mentoring practicum, that we need to go to the school back to observe the teacher at the school, but when the lockdown, all of the secondary school and high school, they just close all in here. So that part that we can say we need to need also change from the physical mentoring practicum physically to virtually as well. while we just learned that even teaching also hard. How about the way that we just go and conduct a mentoring program online in here? So this is the new experience for us as well, that we might bring and come up with the new strategy to change in here. Okay, so this is the brief thing that I talk about our program in here. Okay, one more thing we can say, like one particular specific thing that for the program, that we can say like NTPRC is the new branding institution that we just inaugurated in 2019, and we just provide the special training to the mentor student. All of them are the secondary school or high school teachers in here, and most of them are most of them have at least 3-year teaching experience in here. And the other part that we just provide as the tool to train them in here for the first intake, we just provide to the 25 mentor students, and currently they are graduated. And those 25 we just separated into 2 different seminar rooms in here, and all of the sessions we just focus on or apply like a seminar style. Okay, question, discuss, and do presentation in here. The special feature for our training program. Okay, so that's it, the thing. Thank you.
Thank you for that overview. I have a sort of a specific follow-up question. In reading about your work, I was particularly intrigued by the practicum procedures and their alignment with adult learning theory. And I was also excited to see the metacognitive, I can't say it today, metacognitive, thank you, element with the use of a reflection journal. So I would love to hear just a few more specifics about how you adapted this environment to the online learning environment, and what changes did you need to make, if any, to be able to shift that way so quickly?
The great question for this. We can say like I mentioned earlier, we have we are ready for that, since we just use both outline and the other platform that assists for the instructor to access to the student. Like all of the students need to submit their homework, their assignments through the Google Classroom in here. So one part that we are ready for this, and the other part we equip them and introduce them only the Zoom platform, that how to go online and sharing the thing in here, and then we are ready for that. And regarding to the thing that the big challenges for us, that we just supposed to go and conduct the mentoring practicum at the school, but actually all the schools are locked down. So the solution that we have changed, we just changed from to going to school by using the online, or just use the recorded video to observe. But we just have planned like 2 different options. The first one, just use the recorded video for all of the student, mentor student here, they can observe it. And the other one, we just contact to our partner, we can say like the private school, for them to observe the real online classroom at the time. And the procedure that we have done so far, we can say like, I better tell you about 7 procedures that we have done it with the mentoring online there. The first one, we can say, we have a set our video recorded, and we just, each time we just, we can say like in the practicum, we just divided the student into 5 different groups, 5 students with 1 supervisor for that part, that can coordinate them through through Zoom meeting or even Google Meet currently. And we can say like the first stage, we just drop the link of the video about 45 or 60 minutes for the for all of the mentor trainee to watch. And after that, we can say, after they finish for that part, we just gather them to go to online platform like a Zoom meeting. We just meet and discuss about to identify the strong point and the point to be improved out. The teacher who touched in the video there. And after they discuss, they share about the main point or strong point or point to be improved. We can say, after that, we just have about 15-minute break for them to prepare. And then two out of the 5 members in the group, they will role play to become the mentee, the other one will become the mentor. So for the mentor, during 15-minute break, they need to prepare themselves, prepare the point to give feedback to the mentee as that the role play to be the teacher in the video. And during that time, we can say the supervisor, the supervisor also provide the difficult scenario that we can make it not really easy for the mentor to give feedback in here. For example, like the mentee used to be the teacher or even the trainer of the mentor in here. So how can the mentor give feedback to their teacher? Or many different scenarios that we provide, or some part we can say some mentee did not try to follow, try to again because of their teaching experience and so forth in here. And so during that time, we can say some scenario, we did not let the mentor know about those scenarios. We just want to see their flexibility, that how can they solve a problem, we can say unexpected thing that they may face in their real job as a mentor, that they are going to meet those different kind of people and they can help you. So after that, we can say after 15-minute break, we just come to the conference. We can say one hour procedure of the mentoring. We need to have the teacher mentoring. After we observe their teaching, we need to meet the teacher and start to consult and show them about their strong point or their point to be improved and what are the things that we can plan and do it together. So 2 of them need to role play and the other 3 members need to observe their role play here and there, something there. And after that, we just have the other meeting, we can say after the section conference break and finish, we should come back again in Zoom that all of the members, that 2 of them are the observer and they need to provide feedback regarding to their performance as a mentor, their performance as a mentee. So how great or how worse it is in here. And then they need to reflect and share experience here. So, okay. Even we can say like all of them among the 5, we just have one of them as the team leader that they need to coordinate and facilitate and with the discussion as well. And after everything is done in step number 6, we just can hear from the feedback from their own supervisor that they also involved in that part and they can provide feedback or some more suggestion regarding to what to do next with this one. And one last important thing, we can say after they have done things through from number 1 to number 7 or number 6 in here, they need to write down it into the reflection paper, that they need to reflect about what they have learned so far from the beginning until the end in here. And then what should they recommend or they apply into the upcoming event as a mentor in here. Okay, and this part we can say like for the video observation that we have done so far. Actually, we have planned to use one more platform about we call like whole frame that we supposed to use like a short video that we can comment on the platform. But since we do not have enough time, we cannot apply this one. And the other part we can move to the real online classroom observation that we just let our mentor to go and observe the real teacher in the real classroom. And we also have a chance to let them meet the teacher online on Zoom, to conference and telling them as well. And some part we also challenge like some teacher, he is nearly retired while some of part of our mentors that just go and conference and meeting with them, just only a few years experience in him. Okay, but it's just a good thing that they can stimulate them with the experience, even though we do not have a chance to go and observe the real classroom, but we have a chance to let them experience from online in here. It's hard, but it's just we can do it. We do not die because of COVID in here. We lock down the center, we lock down school, but learning and practicum and our program still running smoothly in here. Okay, so that's it for my part. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I'm a real fan of taking time to reflect because I think it's what seals all those ideas together. So thank you very much. Well, we have our third panelist that has joined us, Mr. Javier Sola. Mr. Sola, I was wondering if maybe you could first give you a brief introduction of who you are and what you do, and then could you also share some of your differences in approach between pre-service training and in-service?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear.
Okay. Okay, I am Executive Director of the Open Institute. The Open Institute is a Cambodian NGO that has been working with the Ministry of Education since 2007 on ICT in education. Before that, we have worked on the standardization of how Khmer is used in computers. In 2008, we did our first try to work with e-learning in Cambodia. We localized to Khmer language the Moodle course management system and trained about 25 universities and a couple of ministry departments on how to do the different roles that were required for e-learning. It came out to be that it was too early. Universities were not prepared, especially private universities, to accept e-learning. They didn't understand that they were gaining knowledge capital for the university, and they were still very dependent on their teachers. So there has been a gap of 10 years until we have started again. In 2019, we established the new Moodle-based platform for the Ministry of Education, and we have been supporting them with technology, also with pedagogy for e-learning. We developed a first e-learning course for teacher training for a very specific topic, which is teaching local life skills. Teaching local life skills is not a curriculum, it's a methodology. So it was a course on how to develop this methodology for a school. And this has brought us to think a lot about how to do teacher training. For us, the main problem is in-service training. How to train teachers who are very far away, who have very little time to learn, and how we can reach them. So far, all the training to these kind of teachers who are already in schools is done through workshops. These workshops are 3 to 5 days with very intensive learning. I think that after the second or third day, they are not learning anything anymore. They reach, as Yana was saying very well, they have filled their working memory. So they are not able to move on and learn anymore, and they lose this knowledge very quickly too. So e-learning is a good way of trying to find a more effective way of doing in-service training, but it requires a strategy that, following I think everything that Iana was saying, following a process of learning across time, practicing. So if we're talking about teaching them pedagogy, it is about learning methods, applying them, and getting feedback on them. So what we're thinking right now for in-service is trying to develop a process of learning new pedagogical techniques, applying them in lesson plans, doing some self-testing before they send this plan as homework. So there would be a number of questions to say, are you sure that your lesson plan fulfills all these characteristics? Then they will submit it as homework and then try to find a way of having their peers correct their homework. And that is also part of the course. How do you correct a peer homework? because this correction is good for the one who wrote the plan, but it's also good for you. You do the exercise of analyzing, evaluating a lesson plan to say, is this good or bad according to the pedagogical techniques that I have learned? And then also build on pedagogical techniques. One plan will, or the first lessons will be one or two different techniques, but then we move on to other techniques, and the new plans have to include all the techniques that you have learned so far. So if you learn how to turn activities into play-based learning, maybe in the next lesson you learn formative assessment. So you have to have both things in that lesson plan. And then you build on, you construct from first lesson to the last lesson. So you replay and replay, you redo week after week lesson plans that are more elaborate. And at the end, time has passed. You are able to really put this in your long-term memory and assume a way of building lesson plans. We can also include videos of you implementing your lesson plan in class. So we're looking at which elements are good for that. Now, to take all of this to pre-service training, there you have a moderator in the class. You have a facilitator, which is the teacher educator. So we are thinking of trying to move this into a blended learning approach, in which all the materials that are developed for the course can be reused, but they need to be applied in a different way in a class setting, so that there is much more possibility of interaction within the class. So it's for us, the challenge right now is how do we create pedagogy courses or modules, for example, on inquiry-based learning, on play-based learning, that implement, that can be used for both in-service and pre-service, but probably with two very different structures. Maybe it's even two different courses, but that use the same basic learning objects, but that they are structured in a very different way, and maybe even across time, depending on the time available for these courses. So this is where we are now, trying to figure out what are the best strategies that work for teacher training, both for in-service and pre-service.
Clearly, these are topics that could go on much longer than 40 minutes, but I think we just have a couple minutes left. I had a couple more questions. I don't think we're going to get to them, but I understand that there might be some Q&A that we might want to discuss here. So maybe we can get some guidance on where questions might come from. Perhaps not. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to Dr. Wagner, and thank you to our expert speakers, Ms. Pikpisay Sovan, Mr. Somara Sun, and Mr. Javier Sola. I'm sure that everyone here on Hopin, as well as live on the Ministry of Education Youth Sport channel, has enjoyed your talk and discussion immensely. We are ending now the panel discussion. So I hope that everyone has had great learning and has taken many notes, and from everyone here. Thank you again for joining us. We'll be breaking for lunch for 1 hour, and we'll see you back at 1:30. Thank you so much again. We hope that you had a great time here, and do come back for our CEF 2021. Do stick around, and if anyone would like to connect with personally with Dr. Wagner or any of our speakers, please do so via the chat or people, and you can direct message them. Thank you for your time, and have a great rest of the day and great lunch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. See you later.
ហើយឥឡូវពួកយើងនឹងធ្វើការសម្រាក break ហើយអរគុណច្រើនទៅកាន់ Dr. Wagner ហើយនឹងអ្នកស្រីសុវណ្ណពេជ្រពិសីហើយនឹងលោកសុនសមរ៉ាអរគុណច្រើនទៅទស្សនិកជនទាំងអស់គ្នានៅលើ Hopin ព្រមទាំងនៅលើ page ក្រសួងអប់រំរបស់យើងអរគុណច្រើនឥឡូវយើងនឹងដល់ម៉ោងបាយថ្ងៃហើយម៉ោង 1 កន្លះនឹងយើងនឹងអញ្ជើញមកវិញអស់គ្នាដើម្បី speaker យើងបន្តតបទៀតអរគុណច្រើនអ្នកនរគ្នាជម្រាបលា Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'll be back before the session starts.